The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Monday, September 15th, reveal Devin Hamilton encourages Lily Winters to make a fresh start. Phyllis Summers demands answers from Michael Baldwin. Meanwhile, Kane Ashby shares his new agenda with Amanda Sinclair. On Monday, Michael and Phyllis talk about working for the same team now. The two decide to put aside their differences to ensure Kane's success. Phyllis asks Michael how he'll handle his former boss, Victor Newman. The top-notch lawyer says he's keeping it on the down low, keeping his new employment a secret even from Lauren Fenmore. This raises red flags for Phyllis. The Young and the Restless, spoilers say the redhead demands to know what he's not telling her. What are you protecting? What's secret? Phyllis presses Michael. I know you too well. You're lying to me. Phyllis goes on to threaten Michael that she'll go to Kane and convince him that the lawyer can't be trusted. Will Michael blow his cover? At the park, Claire tells Victoria about Kyle's deal with Victor. The Young and the Restless, spoilers say Victoria thinks he only did it because he truly loves her and is afraid of losing her. But Claire insists Kyle is starting to seem too possessive. She tells Victoria about Kyle's confrontation with Holden. Victoria urges Claire to give Kyle some grace. Later, Claire and Victoria run into Kyle and Nate at Crimson Lights. Once alone with Claire, Kyle tells her that Nate doesn't trust Holden either. Holden is only out for a good time at your expense, he adds. But Claire thinks it's Kyle she needs to know if she can trust, not Holden. Kyle admits he's scared of losing her, so much so that he's tripping over his words. Can't we just hit the reset button and start over? He asks. The train. Amanda expresses concern about Kane's decision to hand the AI technology over to Billy Abbott. The Young and the Restless, spoilers say she knows his track record, and it isn't impressive. Kane tells Amanda there's nothing to worry about. He explains that Billy will think he's in control when, in reality, he isn't. Their conversation turns to Lily, and Kane asks Amanda if she can start a friendship with her. Find out if there's a chance she'll ever see the good in me again, he adds. Later, Amanda spots Lily and Devin at Society. She asks to speak to Lily alone. The air in Genoa City is thick with more than just the turning leaves of early autumn. It's saturated with desperation, doubt, and the ever-present scent of scheming. For the residents of this Midwestern metropolis, September 15th is not just another day. It's a tipping point. Relationships are strained to their absolute limits, and the choices made today will send seismic ripples through the powerful families that control the city's fate. In the eye of the storm, we find two men on vastly different paths. One, Kyle Abbott, is desperately trying to erase his past to salvage his future, while the other, Michael Baldwin, finds his unwavering integrity questioned by the one woman who should trust him the most, his client, Phyllis Summers. Kyle's crisis, a father's last stand. Kyle Abbott's world has been systematically dismantled. His marriage to Summer Newman is a memory, his once cohesive family is fractured, and his standing at Jabot, the empire his great-grandfather built, is in tatters after his ill-fated alliance with Victor Newman. His attempt to play in the big leagues backfired spectacularly, leaving him without a chair when the music stopped. But more than his career, it's the loss of his son, Harrison, that has carved a canyon of regret within him. Spoilers for Friday, September 15th, indicate that Kyle has reached his breaking point. The sight of Harrison bonding with Summer and her new flame, Chance Chancellor, is a dagger to his heart. He's no longer just jealous. He's terrified of being replaced, of becoming a weekend dad, a footnote in his own son's life. This fear is the catalyst for his drastic new mission. Kyle wants a complete reset. This isn't about a new job or a new apartment. Kyle's reset is far more profound and desperate. He wants to wipe the slate clean of all the toxicity, the bad blood, and the poor decisions that have defined the last few years. He's finally realizing that you can't outrun your mistakes. You have to face them, dismantle them, and build something new from the ground up. His goal is to become the man he believes Harrison needs him to be, a stable, present, and honorable father. This path to redemption, however, is fraught with obstacles. The first and most significant is Summer herself. Her trust in Kyle is non-existent. She sees his desperation not as a genuine desire to change, but as another manipulative tactic to control the narrative and regain access to the life he threw away. Every overture he makes will be met with fierce skepticism. Kyle will have to prove his sincerity through consistent, selfless action, a language he has forgotten how to speak. Furthermore, his own family is a minefield. Jack Abbott, while always hoping for his son's redemption, will be cautiously pessimistic. Diane Jenkins Abbott, however, will see this as her son being pushed out of his own family and will likely advocate for a more aggressive approach, potentially creating even more conflict. And then there's Victor Newman, the puppet master who cut Kyle's strings. Victor doesn't take kindly to those who fail him, and he certainly won't appreciate Kyle trying to rebuild what he helped destroy. Kyle's journey is a classic Genoa City tale, a man who had everything, lost it all to ambition and pride, and must now find his way back to what truly matters. But the road to redemption is paved with humility, and Kyle has a long, hard walk ahead of him. Phyllis versus Michael, a clash of trust and tactics. If Kyle's story is one of desired renewal, then the saga of Phyllis Summers and Michael Baldwin is one of rapidly disintegrating trust. Michael, the city's most brilliant and ethically flexible attorney, has always been Phyllis's port in a storm. He's the one who has consistently fished her out of the legal trouble she so often creates for herself. He understands her chaotic energy, her impulsivity, and her unique moral code. He doesn't always approve, but he always defends. Now, facing the most serious charges of her life, Phyllis is more vulnerable and paranoid than ever. The walls feel like they're closing in, and in her state of high anxiety, she is beginning to scrutinize everyone around her, including her steadfast knight in a legal brief, Michael. Spoilers indicate that Phyllis is consumed with doubt about Michael's strategy. From her perspective, the legal approach is moving too slowly, or worse, in the wrong direction entirely. She's a woman of action, of dramatic, sweeping gestures. Law is a game of meticulous patience and strategic, calculated moves. This fundamental clash in temperament is creating a catastrophic rift. Phyllis is starting to wonder, is Michael truly acting in her best interest, or is he acting in the best interest of the law firm, his reputation, or even his wife, Christine? Is his cautious, by-the-book approach a sign of his mastery, or a sign that he's not fully invested in her desperate fight for freedom? Every time he tells her to be patient, or let the process work, she hears a man who isn't willing to burn the whole system down for her, and Phyllis expects nothing less from her allies. This doubt is poison. It will lead her to second-guess his every decision, potentially withhold information, and even consider taking matters into her own. A prospect that should terrify every resident of Genoa City. A desperate, legally cornered Phyllis Summers acting without counsel is a force of nature that leaves only destruction in its wake. Michael, for his part, is facing an impossible task. He is trying to defend the most unpredictable client imaginable against a formidable foe in Christine. He knows the legal system inside and out, and he knows that wild, emotional moves could sink her case for good. His frustration will mount as he watches Phyllis's trust in him evaporate. The question becomes, how long will he continue to fight for a client who refuses to follow his lead? Their attorney-client relationship is hanging by a thread, and if it snaps, Phyllis will be utterly alone in the courtroom. Around Genoa City, ripples of the coming storms. The consequences of these two central dramas will be felt across the city. Summer and Chance. As Kyle pushes for his reset, Summer will cling tighter to the stability that Chance represents. He is the antithesis of Kyle's recent chaos, solid, reliable, and honest. However, Kyle's renewed presence and focus on Harrison will test their new relationship, forcing Chance to define his role in the complicated Newman-Abbott dynamic. Jack and Diane. The Abbott mansion will be a war room. Jack will be torn between his hope for Kyle's redemption and his duty to protect Jabot and Summer's peace. Diane, the mama bear, will be on a hair trigger, ready to attack anyone she perceives as an enemy to her son's comeback, potentially creating a new rift between her and Jack. The Newman Vortex. Victor will be watching all of this with detached amusement. Kyle's flailing and Phyllis's impending meltdown are mere entertainments in his grand chess game. However, he would be wise not to underestimate a cornered Phyllis. She has a history of damaging the House of Newman when she has nothing left to lose. Christine's case. The former DA will sense the blood in the water. If Phyllis and Michael turn on each other, it only strengthens her prosecution. She is methodical and precise, and a divided defense is a weak defense. The bottom line, September 15th on The Young and the Restless is a day of fragile hopes and dangerous suspicions. Kyle Abbott's quest for a reset is a noble goal, but in Genoa City, the past is a ghost that never stops haunting. His success depends entirely on whether he can finally conquer his own ego. Meanwhile, the partnership between Phyllis Summers and Michael Baldwin, one of the show's most enduring and entertaining alliances, is in perilous jeopardy. Her doubt is a virus that could infect her entire defense. When Phyllis stops trusting her only lifeline, she has no choice but to become her own worst enemy, or her own savior, in the most destructive way possible. Strap in, viewers. The road to redemption is paved with good intentions, but the path to a courtroom verdict is paved with paranoia, and both are heading for a collision that will shake Genoa City to its core.